Hello folks, Everchanger here, and welcome back to more Pokemon Yellow. Last time, we went to the Cinnabar Gym, and we were able to proclaim our 7th badge, which is super duper awesome. This time, we are going to be heading north from Cinnabar Island to... Well, I'm not going to spoil it. It's pretty interesting to see where it loops around to. Anyway, right here, interesting little color change, we have one last water route to deal with. Luckily, this water route isn't as long because, case in point, there's only one of them. So I think I'm going to use a Super Repel, and we are going to head onwards and defeat some more trainers on this route. I believe there are 9 trainers that we have to worry about, which isn't too terribly many. So I think we'll be able to do every single one in this episode, which should be really, really nice, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty tired of dealing with water routes. Now, I should point out that while I'm recording this episode, I have a slight headache, and I think it's because it's going to rain here this evening. I don't know if this happens to most people or if it's just a me thing, but I tend to get headaches pretty bad when there's drastic changes in the air pressure, which usually comes with thunderstorms and things like that, so I do apologize if I seem a little lower energy for the next couple of episodes or so. But yeah, hopefully it's not just me that happens to, because it's pretty annoying, and I don't want to feel left out of feeling good during storms. I don't know, that was probably a really bad way to word it. But I just hope it's not just me, you know? Alrighty. Now, fun fact about the previous episode, episode 54, that was the first time I recorded a single episode in a recording session. Every single episode before that was recorded alongside at least one other episode, at least immediately before or after it, but episode 54 was the first time I sat down, recorded a single episode, and then got back up again. So, fun little bit of trivia about the series right there. Yellow is probably the first series where I recorded the vast majority of episodes in sets, which is really nice. And I think the most episodes I ever recorded in a single recording session was 5. I'm pretty sure episodes 10 through 14 were all recorded in one sitting, which is kind of crazy. But, I mean, when you're a college student like me, when you find some time to record episodes, you're going to want to capitalize on it. And it's worth noting, episode 54 was recorded a couple of hours after I had a final exam, which is kind of crazy, and I had another final exam the day afterwards, alongside some other interesting stuff that happened around that time. So yes, even though I'm not going to go into certain details, I feel like you all should be very, very impressed that I've actually managed to keep this series updated 3 times a week the past month or so, because it's been crazy. I will just leave it at that. Alrighty. Anyway, this is trainer number 2 on the route already, and we're only like 3.5 minutes into the video, which is really nice. I think we're making good time. Now, one thing I am pretty concerned about is this is the last route in the entire game with regular trainers on it. There's one more dungeon left after this, but in terms of just regular route number areas, this is the last one, believe it or not. So yeah, and I'm looking at my team's levels, and they're not really where I would like them to be. Honestly, I believe the highest leveled Pokemon we're going to be facing in our entire adventure is level 65, which is incredibly high, and that has me quite nervous, and I believe we only have 8 or 9 rare candies to our name, which isn't too terribly many. So if you know of any rare candies that I have missed, please, please, please point them out. And if there are any really good places to train for the final battles of the game, please point those out in the comments as well. In fact, pretty much anything I've missed throughout the Let's Play, you should probably point out in the comments starting about now, because we are getting pretty close to the end of the series here. I'd say there's probably like a dozen episodes max until the end of the series, so keep that in mind. If there's anything I've missed, around the world that you're afraid I might just skip over altogether, please feel free to point it out, because I do not want to forget anything that anyone really wants me to show. Also worth noting, I know that there's the rewards from speaking to Professor Oak's aides that I have not gotten yet. I do plan on going around off-screen and catching 9 inconsequential Pokemon to fill out my Pokedex so I can go get the last of those rewards on screen at some point in the near-ish future. So I do have those in mind, so if you're afraid I'm going to forget those, please do not worry, because I am planning on showing those when I am able. Anyway, there's this little island thing right here, and there's a couple of fishermen on it, which is fun. Alrighty. Looks like this guy trains Goldeen and Seeking, which is interesting. Alright. Now, one thing I am a little concerned about is Lapras, because it's pretty low leveled relative to everybody else. And I do have to wonder if it's worth spending my rare candies on Lapras, or if it might be more prudent to spend my rare candies on other members of the team who might be more useful in later fights. I really don't want to give Lapras the shaft like that, though, so if anyone has any opinions or advice, please just sound it off in the comments. And this advice doesn't just go for this episode, basically any episode in the future. Feel free to comment advice. Now, since I do tend to record these episodes in sets, it's entirely possible that I won't actually act upon your advice for another 2 or 3 episodes after that, but it would definitely be appreciated if you have any input regarding the team at the end of the series here, because we are coming down to the wire. It's kind of crazy. I've actually been planning out my, my little text document for the future of the series, and it's looking like we could be fighting some of the final battles of the game as soon as the end of next week, which is really scary to me. But I mean, it's summer break now, so I should have a little more time if some grinding is required. Alright, next up is this dude. And this is trainer number 5 on the route, which means we're already about halfway through facing all the trainers on this route, and we're only about 7 and change minutes into the video, which is awesome. Alright, looks like this guy is rocking Shelter. Now, I think I'll leave Lapras in here because we are level 34 versus his level 31, so I think if we can get a little bit of experience on Lapras, that would probably be very good. And we actually don't hurt ourselves in confusion, which is awesome. And if we could snap out, that would be really nice, but unfortunately that's not going to be the case, it looks like. Now, it's funny how I'm talking about how I'm nervous about the later battles of the game, because the past week or so, I've been playing through Alpha Sapphire to get the 8 legendary Pokemon that I can only get through that game for my living Pokedex, which I think I have mentioned in previous videos on this channel that it's something I've been doing in my own personal time. But yeah, compared to this game, that game is ridiculously easy. Like, it's kind of hilarious. I know that can sort of be attributed to the experience share, but there's also the fact that they've added so many characters in Alpha Sapphire that literally just scream in your face where you're supposed to go next. And I've encountered like 3 or 4 different times where you're either given an optional or even mandatory teleport directly to where you're supposed to go. It's kind of ridiculous in my opinion, and I wish the game wasn't that easy. Although it is pretty helpful in the fact that I'm trying to beat the game pretty much as fast as possible so I can get a hold of the legendaries I need. But still, like, for someone who's playing it for the actual experience of playing the game and not just getting the legendaries at the end, I think as a player I'd be a little bit frustrated. I think I actually was a little frustrated when I played the game back in 2014 for the first time. But, like, it's crazy how much they hold your hand in that game. It's kind of shocking. In fact, I think the only time in the entire game where they make anything even remotely more difficult than the original Ruby and Sapphire is Mount Pyre, because in the original you only had to explore the first floor, but in the remake you have to explore the first 3 floors of the interior of the mountain. which is really interesting. Of all the things to be the one thing that they make even remotely more difficult, I'm surprised it was that. Just seems like a random choice. Anyway, I really hope we don't get poisoned. I shouldn't have mentioned it. I jinxed it. I'm telling you guys, I jinxed it. I jinxed it real bad. But anyway, Lapras gets level 35, so it's getting closer. I think our lowest level Pokemon outside of Lapras is 38? 39. Okay, so yeah, Lapras is catching up decently quickly. It's already gained 20 levels since we got it, and we didn't actually get it all that long ago. I think we got Lapras in like episode 44 or 45, and it's currently episode 55, so I think we're actually on a decent enough pace with this thing right now. But again, unfortunately, this is the last major route with trainers on it, and there's probably only one more area in the entire game with regular trainers in it, period. So I'm a little concerned about that. Also, fun fact, if you knock out a Pokemon in a given turn in Generation 1, and I think also in Generation 2, you do not take poison damage. Makes absolutely no freaking sense whatsoever, but I will take it. Alright, and next up is Tentacruel. I don't think Lapras will be able to take out a Tentacruel. Oh, definitely not. We're out of Body Slams. Okay, we are going to switch over to... We'll switch over to Pikachu, because I think Tentacruel only takes normal damage from Grass-type moves, so... Oh, man. And we are wrapped. Hey. This is like... I've already given my thoughts on Wrap, and I am very excited to move away from Generation 1 following the conclusion of this LP, because the Wrap mechanic is awful. Like, wow, it's bad. Anyway, going to Thunderbolt this guy, because he definitely deserves it. And wow, he actually survived. Also, please don't poison me. Isn't that like a 30% chance? I'm pretty sure it's like a 30% chance for Poison Sting to poison you. So I think we're getting a little unlucky here. And Pikachu gets level 43. I thought it was close. It seemed to be at 42 for a while. Anyway, we defeated the cue ball, who is in the water, by the way. How does that work? And we fought you, right? Yeah, we did fight you. Alright, so we only have a couple of guys left. First things first is this one. I got a big haul. Want to go for it? Oh. Oh, the dialogue in this game. This is that guy. You know? That guy who's in every single Pokemon game? Yeah, that guy. The guy with 6 Magikarp. Why they insist on putting this character in every single game, I have no idea. It's incredibly frustrating. They're incredibly weak. There's really no redeeming qualities to them, because like even though there's 6 of them, because Magikarp's experience yield is so freaking low, it's basically like fighting a single Gyarados that just can't do anything to you. It's stupid. I don't get why they include this trainer in every game, and they even managed to work this guy into Black and White somehow, if I remember correctly, even though Magikarp isn't even native to the Unova region in that game. Why on earth they did that, I have no idea. But I mean, the nice thing about these Magikarp right here is they're so weak that I can even surf them to death, even though it's not very effective on them, so... That's one good quality about fighting this guy. Probably the only good quality I can think of. Alright, down goes Magikarp number 5, I think it was? 4. I wish it was 5. Alright, well, just keep on surfing, and because of the interesting glitch with poison, Lapras is probably going to get out of this fight relatively unscathed. Alright, and a pointless critical for good measure, and we only have one more Magikarp to go. Ay, 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 ay. I don't get why Magikarp is a thing. I mean, I get why it's a thing, I just don't get why they throw it in your face so much. Like, you fight one Magikarp, you fought them all, unless it's over level 30 or something like that, and then it gets Tackle and Flail. But even then, its attack is so low that it really can't do anything to you anyway. Anyway, this is the last trainer on this route, which is awesome. We might actually get through this entire route only using one super repel, which is really nice. The thing about areas in these Game Boy Pokemon games is they're pretty tiny, so repels usually last you for a lot longer, because you'll notice in later Pokemon games, because they give you the ability to run, they're allowed to make areas like bigger and wider, and they won't seem like really tedious to go through. And so honestly, repels are not as effective in later games. In areas of like these earlier games where areas are more concise, they're a lot more useful. But I found in later Pokemon games, I have to buy a lot of repels just to keep up with the vastness of the areas. And we all know eventually they're going to make an open world Pokemon game, and when they do that, boy, it's going to be interesting. I have to wonder if that's what their plan is for the Switch, because on the Switch it's probably technically possible for them to do something like that. I'm probably, honestly, super excited for Generation 8 just for the reason that it's most likely going to be on the Switch, and the Switch is so much more powerful. They could do some crazy stuff with it that we probably can't even imagine them doing with the series right now until we actually see it. It's kind of the same way I think about remakes of Pokemon games. Like, I feel like all of us have probably thought, like, in the months after Sun and Moon came out, you're like, huh, there's gonna be a remake of this at some point. I wonder what that's going to be like. And it's just so far out that you can't really perceive the design choices that they might make at the time. It's a really interesting, almost philosophical thing to think about. Anyway, gonna blast through this Seeking right here. And then I think he only has one more guy with him. Yeah, he has another Seeking, so we're gonna switch back to Lapras just because, again, Lapras needs the experience, and even though Seeking's only level 28, it's still a Seeking. In fact, could we possibly take this thing out? I don't know how much damage it's going to take from Surf, probably less than half. Oh wow, okay. Well, I mean, it was a critical hit, but that's pretty good. We could probably take it out in one more Surf, looking at this. Let's see here. It's going to be close, I think. Nope, there we go. Down goes Seeking. Very nice. Lapras is starting to pull its own weight, and I'm really appreciating that. Dang, he says. Alright, and with that, we have explored this entire route. Not really too terribly big of a route, and honestly, if you're not caring about exploring everything, this is a much easier way to get to Cinnabar, if you're in a hurry. Anyway, believe it or not, it deposits us right here in Pallet Town, which is awesome. I think we actually haven't been back here since, like, episode 2 of the series? It's kind of crazy. Anyway, we are going to heal with Mom. Thank God that this is a feature even now, because I was kind of afraid it wouldn't be, because, like, they don't even give you Pokeballs. You have to buy them. It's crazy. You and your Pokemon are looking great. Take care now. Alrighty. And with that, I think we are going to end things off here, but not before we fly north to Viridian City. And I feel like this is one of the first times I've actually shown the map of the region on screen, just because I streamlined my route pretty well, so we didn't have to fly to too many places. Anyway, yes, with that, we are going to end things off here. So, this past episode of Pokemon Yellow, we explored Route 21, the last route in the region with a lot of trainers on it that we had to take out. And we also got some additional levels on all of our Pokemon. And next time on Pokemon Yellow, it is finally time. We are here in Viridian City, and we have one more badge to get. So next time, we are going to be going after the final badge in our adventure. So without further ado, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.
シードラ、ドラゴンポケモン、高さ 1.2 メートル、重さ 25.0 キログラム。うかつに触ろうとすると、体中に生えるトゲに刺されて気絶することもある。